I opened the August issue of Vogue and found 2 lines of type doing more work than the 2-page ad above them. Guess had 2 new models in it. Faces you'd swear you'd seen in a coffee ad. And at the bottom, in the print nobody reads, it said, "Produced by Seraphinne Vallora on AI." A TikTok flagging that line pulled 2 million views in a day. Longtime subscribers posted cancellations within hours, screenshots attached like courtroom evidence. So here's the question everyone jumped to. Can a machine make an ad good enough that people forgive it for being a machine? That's the fight that gets the headlines and the canceled subscriptions. But I want to ask a different one. What happens to marketing when AI doesn't even bother making the ad? It just makes the audience disappear before the ad ever runs. Those are 2 very different problems, and only one shows up on a TikTok you can screenshot. If the ad authenticity fight is the whole story, the fix is simple. Better disclosure rules, better models, wait for the outrage to cool. If it isn't, every marketing plan built on rank on Google, get free clicks, is standing on ground that's already moving, and no disclosure rule fixes that. Start with the fight everyone's actually having. It's real, not manufactured. A German research institute ran the cleanest version of this test I've seen. Same ad, same copy, only the label at the bottom changed. One version said AI generated, the other said nothing. The AI labeled version got rated worse and clicked less every time. The problem was never the ad, it was the caption underneath it. I pulled up 2 identical product shots on my laptop. Same lighting, same crop, same copy underneath both. I told myself, silently, that one was AI generated and the other human made, and I noticed my own eye drift toward the second before I'd finished reading either caption. If you've ever hesitated on an ad the second you clocked it as AI made, you weren't imagining that. It's measurable, and apparently contagious. And it isn't just a lab result in a PDF nobody reads. 78% say AI-made ads feel less authentic. 73% say they'd trust an ad less if they suspected AI had a hand in it. So, disclosure backfires. Case closed. AI advertising is a trust problem for people with clipboards. Except, Coca-Cola got hammered for exactly this in 2024. A fully AI-generated holiday remake, one critic said looked made from the blood of out-of-work artists. A year later, in 2025, Coca-Cola put out another one. Same backlash, same company, walking right back into it. If disclosure tanks trust the way that lab test says, why would a brand that got burned once do it again on purpose? But here's what doesn't fit if you're only watching the ad fight. While everyone was furious at a soda commercial, agency use of AI in the creative process climbed from 60% to 83% in 2 years. Something else is doing that math. Here's my read. The ad authenticity fight is a sideshow next to a problem eating their traffic, and AI content is cheap enough to absorb a little backlash while that problem goes unaddressed. Google's AI overviews cut click-through on the #1 search result by more than half on the searches where they show up, measured this past February. The top organic link, the one somebody spent years earning, loses more than half its clicks. I ran an ordinary search, the kind that used to send you down 10 blue links. This time, the whole answer sat above the fold before I'd scrolled an inch. No click required, no page visited, no ad ever seen. I kept scrolling anyway, out of morbid curiosity. The way you slow down for a car wreck you already know the ending of. The #1 result, the one some small business took years to earn, sat down there. Technically present, practically invisible. Publisher traffic from Google search is down about a third industry-wide over the past year. It doesn't fall evenly. Over 2 years, small publishers lost nearly 3 times what the big ones did. Whoever had the least room to absorb it is absorbing the most. This is the part that actually costs you. Not whether your ad feels real, but whether anyone ever sees it. If you're a small shop, a newsletter, a solo brand that spent years climbing to page 1, that traffic pays your bills, not a hypothetical. Which means the ad authenticity fight everyone's having in public isn't the real fight. It's a distraction from the one already being lost in private, and it's the smallest players losing it fastest, with the least room to notice before it's gone. Here's the actual answer to the question I opened with. The AI marketing story that matters isn't, can a machine make a convincing ad? It's that AI search has already rerouted the free traffic pipe most marketing has run on for 20 years. Quietly, with no viral video, no caption to screenshot. The ad authenticity fight got the attention because it's loud and emotional, and you can point at one line of type and be angry together. The traffic collapse doesn't have a caption. It just shows up 1/4 as a smaller number on a dashboard that used to be bigger. Two separate outfits measured this, with different methods, and no reason to agree with each other. Ahrefs tracked click-through rates directly. Top-ranking pages lose more than half their clicks the moment an AI overview shows up beside them. Press Gazette pulled the same story from Publisher Analytics and landed on the same slope. US organic Google referrals down 38% in a year. When two firms with nothing to gain from agreeing point at the same falling number, that's harder to wave away than one clean lab experiment about ad labels. And the traffic isn't just leaking, some of it's being siphoned. The ad industry's own trade group tallied $26.8 billion in wasted programmatic spend industry-wide last year. An earlier study by that group had already traced $10.1 billion of an older spend pool, 15% of it, to made-for-advertising sites, pages that exist only to carry ads. Security researchers at DoubleVerify found one such operation and named it AutoBait. 200-plus AI-generated news sites, each fake article built for under $2.25, quietly harvesting ad revenue while everyone argued about a soda commercial. Nobody made a TikTok about AutoBait. It just moves the money. Here's the gap that explains why the industry doesn't see this coming. 82% of ad executives think customers are basically fine with AI-generated ads. 45% of consumers actually agree. That's a 37-point blind spot, aimed entirely at the visible fight, while the traffic underneath keeps draining through a gap nobody in that boardroom is measuring. I went back to that Vogue issue and set it next to the search results glowing on my other screen. One got 2 million views of outrage in a day. The other is worth far more money to whoever loses it and got almost no coverage. So stop treating "will people notice this is AI made?" as the central AI marketing question. That's the fight that gets headlines, not the one that moves money. The real question is where your audience finds you, now that the free click pipe is narrowing. And that doesn't care whether you've ever touched an AI ad tool. If I were you, I'd stop obsessing over whether next quarter's ad reads as "to AI" and ask a colder one. If Google stopped sending you anyone tomorrow, would a single person still know how to find you? A few brands have already made this move, for a different reason. Aerie built a whole campaign around rejecting AI outright. Real Skin, a no retouching pledge going back a decade. Equinox and Almond Breeze ran versions of the same play this year. None of it was really about beating an AI overview. It was about giving people a reason to find the brand directly, instead of waiting on wherever Google ranks it that week. Here's the one thing worth doing differently. Build the channel Google can't take away from you. An email list, a following you don't rent by the click, at somebody else's mercy, being the thing AI cites when it answers a question, instead of the thing AI buries 3 scrolls down under its own answer. That's the actual move, and it works whether or not you ever run a single AI-generated ad. I closed the Vogue issue and set it down on the desk. The search results were still open on my other screen, the AI overview sitting up top, the #1 link buried underneath it, doing all the work and getting none of the credit for it. The ad everyone argued about got noticed by 2 million people in a day. The traffic that quietly disappeared didn't get noticed by anyone. And it's the one actually deciding who's still in business a year from now. That's the memo. Read.